What's going on, my people? Once again, it's a He Said, She Said podcast. I am your host, your boy G-Man, alongside my beautiful girl.
Hey, Lady G's in the house.
And get ready for an amazing show. This is episode 22. We
Woohoo!
keep counting one more episode. We want to apologize because last week we did not give you an episode. It's because we had our Halloween party.
Yeah.
And we didn't really have any time to record. It was so busy, running back and forth. I'm growing my mustache. There's just a lot that's going on.
Yes.
And, we couldn't just, we didn't have time. So we apologize, but we are back. And we have a real special podcast. But before we get to that, we want to go ahead and shout out our sponsors real quick, Alpha Medicine and Rehab. Make sure that, look, if you get into an accident, there's one place to call, Alpha Medicine and Rehab, all over Florida. Make sure you check them out because they're there to help you out. There's a lot of responsibilities that happens when you get into an accident, and you got to make sure you are well informed, well prepared, and the people that you need beside you. Also, we want to go ahead and send this big shout out to Miramar Pools. If you're looking for a pool in Florida, guess what? Those are the people that you got to talk to because they create real nice modern pools in a very good timing, and they can do any type of design that you want. So they're just not, oval pool and all that. They make a real nice pool, whatever you want. They got it all in there, jacuzzi, heated pool, anything you want. Make sure you check out Miramar Pools. And we did talk about accidents, so why not bring a lawyer here that can definitely help you with all that information?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, like we said, you get into an accident, you need somebody on your side. So with us, we got Larry. How you doing, brother?
Hey,
how's
Larry,
everything going?
welcome.
Trias Law Firm with us.
Trias
we appreciate
Law Firm.
that, my brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for this too.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey,
It's going to
you
look
have-
good on you.
Yes.
My name's Larry Trias. I'm the founder of Trias Law Firm. We have offices in Florida. I've been practicing law for close to 20 years.
Wow.
Almost exclusively personal injury, but we also handle first-party insurance claims as well.
Okay.
And I'm fully bilingual. I have a very customer-centered approach to handling cases. And it's my pleasure to be here with you this evening.
No, we appreciate you being here. We talked a little bit before this, so we got to know a little bit about you. You from Spain.
That's
so
right.
You came there when you were 9 years old, you said, right?
That's right. I was born in Barcelona. And when I was about 9 years old, my father wanted to come to America to live the American dream.
Okay.
So he took me, my two brothers, and my sister at the time, and my mom, and we moved to California. They sold everything back home, and we all moved to California, and then we ended up in Florida, and that's pretty much where I've grown up my whole life.
I think about like moving from a place like that. It has to be like a risk. Obviously, it's a risk. You guys had family down here to like
Zero family.
Wow.
Zero family. My father is a scientist and a businessman, and he just basically risked it all to, like I said, to live the American dream. There's nowhere in the world like America when it comes to opportunity.
Yeah.
And so he knew that, and it wasn't automatic to have success, but with hard work and determination, he was able to really, make that dream for himself and for his family. And so, we had no family. We didn't really know many people. I didn't know anybody. I had no friends. I didn't even speak the language.
Correct.
Yeah. The culture shock alone
Exactly.
Well, that's how I say with me when I came from Puerto Rico when I was 10. And, and it was a huge culture shock for me, especially because I moved to the East Coast. So in Connecticut, it was snowing. We moved in October. So I come from a tropical place to come here, straight snow and snowstorms and cold. And I was like, it was brutal, to try to like...
Your first winter must have really...
It was bad. I mean,
You must have felt it. You must have felt it.
Correct. And the thing is, when you're like in Spain, Puerto Rico, you're 9 years old, I was 10, you got your little friends, you got your school friends. So you come here, I felt lost, man.
Yeah.
You felt the same thing? Or?
Well, absolutely. And plus, I was kind of shy when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so I came not knowing... I knew a few words because in Europe you do learn a little bit of English.
Okay.
But I knew a few words, but I literally had to start from scratch and learn the language. But within a year, I was speaking and dreaming in English. I remember the first time I actually started dreaming in English. I was like, wow, that's wild, you know? And so then me and my brother started speaking English with each other. And at that point, we were just fully Americanized.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. So now what got you into the practice of law?
First of all, I've always been good at arguing. I've always been, you know, whenever there was any dispute at home, I was always the first to, you know,
Boom.
To debate it out. Like, let's debate.
That, yeah.
And so there were multiple reasons, but, you know, I do really respect the justice system, and I believe in the Constitution. I believe in rights, and I do like analyzing problems and solving problems. So basically, one thing led to another, and I ended up in law school, and when I was still in law school, I started representing. Well, I started working for a law firm that was representing hurricane victims after the 2004 hurricanes.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember, but in 2004, we had like 3 hurricanes that destroyed Florida. And so my firm started representing victims of hurricane damage where the insurance companies were totally lowballing them and refusing to pay what was right. And so that's when I was like, this is actually happening. Like, I saw cases, and I was a young law student at the time, but I was seeing cases where an old lady, an elderly lady in her 70s had roof damage, and the insurance company sent her a check for like $25. And
wait, $25?
I've seen this. I have seen this. And it would just shock you, you know? And so I would see this over and over again. When you see a lot of cases, you start seeing a pattern where basically the insurance adjusters would drive by and take pictures of the damage while they were still in their car, they're supposed to assess the damage. And so that was my law school experience, and I was like, this is unbelievable. And so then after that, I started doing personal injury. And I've been doing that exclusively, just about exclusively since. I still do some first-party work because that is one of my passions. But right now, I mostly exclusively handle personal injury claims.
When you say first party, what does that mean?
That means if you have a home or a property, and you have an insurance policy, if the insurance company doesn't want to pay, then you present a first party claim.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
Meaning it's basically a breach of contract claim. So you've paid your premiums, and the insurance company just doesn't want to pay. Either they deny the claim or they underpay the claim, and then you have to get a lawyer in order to recover what you need to fix your home.
Okay, gotcha. So not only personal injuries, which you specialize in that, but if somebody needed your services for hurricane purposes, something happened, they could definitely call you from that.
Absolutely. We've had 2 hurricanes that have gone through Florida this year, Helene, and now Milton just a few weeks ago. Yeah. And so, yeah, absolutely. We handle flood claims, wind damage claims, and there's been a lot of changes in the law lately. So the insurance companies are getting even more bold to either underpay or deny the claims.
Got it. Okay. So I got a question, right? So when I moved from Connecticut here, in Connecticut, I used to have a house. Well, when I lived in an apartment, my insurance for my car was more expensive because my car slept on the road. It was just parked on the side of the road. When I got a house, it was cheaper because now it's in a driveway. So when I came to Florida, I'm thinking,
it's in a garage, even better.
This is going to be great. My insurance is going to go down. This is me. I come here, and my insurance goes through the roof. So I said to myself, well, how dangerous are the roads in Florida? Yes. I mean, I do get that there's a lot of older people. Now I understand that. But before, I didn't know that. Yeah. And why are they so or are they dangerous? And why? If so, why?
That's a great question. First of all, Florida is a massive state, right? We have millions and millions of people. but the statistics are pretty unbelievable. There's a total of over 300,000 crashes every year in Florida.
300,000.
300,000.
Let that sink in for a minute.
goodness.
300,000.
Well, I see them on the way to work in the morning.
That's crazy.
There's almost 200,000 injuries resulting from those crashes. We have fatalities, unbelievable amounts of fatalities. Over 2,000 fatalities every year in the state of Florida. So it's scary. I have a 16-year-old. Literally last week, she obtained her license. And
nerve-wracking. I've been there. It was nerve-wracking for me.
As a personal injury attorney, I've seen a lot, right? I've had clients that have suffered catastrophic injuries. I've had wrongful death cases. I've seen terrible things. And it can happen in an instant. So yeah, as a father, I'm very aware of the dangers. And so what people that are listening or people out there should do is just protect themselves, but know that it's a very dangerous, the roads are extremely dangerous right now. And it's been like that for a long time. People go very, very fast. Some people don't follow the rules. There's just many reasons. And I actually have a list of different reasons, but basically what people need to do is, number one, obviously drive safe. Okay. Yeah. Don't rush anywhere. Wear your seatbelt. Don't drink and drive. These are the basics, right? As to driving. But what I want to tell people is, what can you do to protect yourself now in the event of an accident?
Correct. What to do if that was to happen.
Yeah.
And what would you say? I think it's people on their cell phones. That's the number one cause of accidents. What would you say is the number one cause of them?
Okay. Actually, you're close. Okay. The number one cause of accidents is distracted driving. So second is speeding. Third is drunk driving. And 4 is reckless driving. So distracted driving, and I think we've all seen it. You're literally driving down the road, and you look to your left, you look to your right, they're on their phone. Everyone's on their phone.
Correct.
And so it takes a split second for you to be looking down on your phone, for you not to see what's going on in front of you. And then next thing you know, you hit somebody from behind, or somebody changes lanes, or something the light turns red and you blow through it. So yeah, so I think you're right. I think you hit the nail on the head that a lot of people are distracted because of cell phone use or other reasons, but it's mostly because of cell phone use.
That's insane. You know, like I saw today, I was watching the news. I watch the news, you know, kind of every day, kind of stay informed a little bit around like 5 o'clock or whatnot. And some guy was driving, hit somebody, the person died. Now they're getting charged. And they said, just imagine, like you were just driving and you decided to do something, right? You were distracted or whatever it was. And it's like, now you're going to lose all your freedom, all because you got distracted. And then you took somebody's life. That has to be very, very hard. Like, what are your advice to somebody that drives like daily? Like, you know, I work every day. I have to drive every day to go to work. I'm like 30, 35, 40 minutes from my job. I told my son, one thing I tell him is, you got to be a defensive driver. Like I said, drive like nobody else knows how to drive but you. And do not think that because you see a signal light coming to make a right, don't think that he's making a right. Most likely, you don't know. I said, so wait till he actually starts to turn, you know, to actually make your decision. Because sometimes I was like coming out of the Publix. Somebody had their light, and luckily I stopped because he just went straight. Because I was from another turn that he made to get into that street. So like, but what are some of the things that you would say that you would give, you know, advice to people that drive every day?
So I think you're absolutely right. Defensive driving, assume the worst, assume that somebody's going to pull out in front of you. And I tell my daughter, speed kills. Don't rush anywhere. If you go 10 over the speed limit, it's not going to get you to your destination really any faster. You may save a couple of minutes, but what's the point of rushing for that? So, but beyond that, I would tell people to protect themselves. Review your insurance policy, because what if an accident happens? If there's things you can do now to protect yourself in case of an accident, because if an accident does happen, it's too late to do anything about that. So one of the things that people tell me all the time is, after they have an accident and I ask them, what type of insurance do you have? They always tell me, I have full coverage. Don't worry, I have great insurance. Mm-hmm. But what does that really mean? So that there's really no definition to what full coverage means. That's what insurance agents say, and that's what people say in passing. But there's really no legal definition of that. What I tell people is make sure that you have at least some amount of uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. Because in Florida, if you have bodily injury coverage, that means coverage that if you accidentally hurt somebody,
that covers that person.
Right. So exactly. So if you accidentally hit a bicyclist and they end up in the hospital and they make a claim against you or they sue you, your insurance company is supposed to defend you and resolve the claim. Okay? That's called bodily injury. But what I tell people is go beyond that by also having uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. And what that does is that basically the insurance company covers you if you're injured and it's because somebody else either didn't have enough insurance or didn't have any insurance. And you'd be surprised how many millions, maybe not millions, but how many people in the state of Florida drive and they don't have any insurance or any insurance that will cover you. And I've seen really bad accidents where somebody gets taken to the hospital via helicopter, and they end up with $100,000 hospital bill, and then they make a claim, and then I get the insurance. I start doing my investigation, and then it turns out that person did not have any coverage. So what does that person do? Do you sue that person that doesn't even have enough money to pay for insurance?
Yeah.
The reality is that that's really not an option most of the time, because if somebody can not afford to pay for insurance, do you think they're going to be able to pay for your claim? I don't think so. If you sue somebody that's judgment proof, you go in front of the judge or go in front of a jury, you present your case, you get an award. Let's say you get $100,000 in damages, but if there's nobody paying for those damages, it's just a piece of paper. The very next day, they hire a bankruptcy attorney, and what does the bankruptcy attorney do? They file for bankruptcy, and that judgment, it disappears.
Wow.
And so I tell people, obviously, be smart, drive carefully, but also, as a lawyer, my job is to also, think 5 steps ahead. What if an accident does happen? Like my daughter's driving now. What happens if she causes an accident?
Correct.
Okay. It can happen. Okay. She's inexperienced. It can happen. So I tell people always review your insurance policy to make sure you have the right coverages. And I know that it's expensive and
it is, man. Insurance. I was watching this. Like when you go to YouTube and when you watch videos, there's this one guy that always pops up. I hate it when he pops up in my page on YouTube, and he talks about, that insurance companies are robbing you. You can get as low as $35 for coverage. I was like, what? And basically, which is a lie, because what he does, like, you get, why? Because I tried it. I said, let me see if this is true. So then now that I clicked on it, like, he keep freaking popping up. I'm like, man. So basically, it's like you go to this website and it shops insurance policies for you, but it's the same thing. Like, you're still going to end up paying a lot of money. There's no insurance there that's $35.
Not especially when you have a 17-year-old that's driving.
No, man. Look, I tried to go with, I got Geico right now, and I try to go with, what is it called? Because I was in the military.
USAA.
USAA? It was more expensive than Geico. A lot more expensive. They wanted to, charge me, $6,000. I was like, no, it was $10,000 for 6 months. I'm like, bro, you crazy?
Yeah.
And that's the problem is there's like you have to get to work.
Yeah.
You have to work to earn money. You don't make a lot of money, and then, like my son, because he's 17, it's really high, and it's really becomes very expensive. Because we got 4 cars in this house, and insurance is expensive every month. It's like, damn.
I know.
That's like a mortgage
And guess
payment.
what? They're making a boatload of profit.
Correct.
The insurance companies are not losing money.
Yeah.
They always find a way to make money. They're in the business of collecting premiums, not
Yeah.
paying claims. And so
that's
that's something people need to realize. They're you hear all the commercials and they spend so much money on commercials.
Yeah.
But they really are in the business of collecting as many premiums as possible and really paying as little as possible.
Nationwide is not on your
Is
side.
on your side. No, they not.
but yeah, they're when they get a claim, even if it's a claim made by their own insured, they always err on the side of keeping the money.
Correct. Correct.
Now, obviously, when it comes to very basic stuff, they're not if there's an accident and you have a certain coverage, they're gonna pay you. But when you talk about injury claims, that's when they really fight on paying injury claims.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because property damage is clear. You go to the mechanic, you go to the body shop, this is the bill. Okay.
Boom.
When it comes to injuries, it's different because you have past medicals, you have future medicals.
Correct.
You have pain and suffering, you have scarring, you have, emotional damages. These are things, when you get into a car crash, it can really affect not only now, but for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And so insurance companies have a hard time paying when it's something that's not black or white.
Correct. And I was talking to Lewis from Alpha Medicine, and he told me, he was telling us the same thing. Like, you really got 2 weeks to really put a claim together, because once, a lot of these insurances, they just want to pay you off, shut you up, and that's it. But then what happens
Well, they want to
is,
settle. They're so
well,
quick
they're
to
quick
want to settle.
because then when you're having these issues in the future, it's so hard to kind of go back and say, oh, by the way, this. No,
Yes.
you're already settled. So that's why this is a good idea to get with people that can really help you.
Right.
Because once you put that paperwork together, there's a history there. And now this is, if the doctor says this is caused because of this, then you could do something about it.
And so that brings a great point. What happens right after an accident, right? So first of all, if you're hurt, you should seek medical attention as soon as possible.
Yes.
And so you mentioned the 14 days. So there's a law that says that in Florida, we have a no-fault system, meaning everyone that drives in Florida is required to have at least $10,000 in what's called personal injury protection. And so when you get into a car crash, it doesn't matter if it's your fault or the other driver's fault, your own insurance pays that those PIP benefits, and they pay 80% up to $10,000. By law, you have 14 days to go see a doctor after an accident. Otherwise, you don't have access to any of your own benefits.
Wow.
See, and a lot of people don't know this. That's the thing. A lot of people do not know that this is the law, or like this is something that's, set. And you have to, a lot of people will just go to the hospital. My neck hurts. I'll go to the hospital, whatever it is, and that's it. And then they'll, try to get a few $1,000s and stuff like that. Now they got neck injury for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. And so that's why it's important that you go to the right doctors that actually know how to properly document your injuries. Because if you go to your primary care doctor, they don't know how to properly document.
Correct.
And
the
oftentimes,
records.
I don't even think they would see you. Like, they might even turn you away and say, is this due to an accident? I don't want any part of
You're
it.
absolutely right. They
they
don't
don't.
even
Wow.
know how to properly
Yes.
submit the billing
Yeah.
to insurance companies. So if somebody says, "Hey, I had
was
an
in an
accident,",
accident
I
the
hear
other
it all
day.
the time. I went to my primary care doctor, but they said I can't help you, and so
Yeah,
go
all
find
they'll do
another
is
doctor.
they'll just treat the symptom. Oh, your back hurts. Here's ibuprofen, because that's the only thing they can do. They don't know how to properly.
Right.
Yep. So what doctor
Diagnose.
do you see? Like, where Like, well, how do you
need,
select one?
Listen, you need to find, if you're involved in a car crash, you need to find a doctor that specializes in car accident treatment.
Alpha Medicine and Rehab.
And so absolutely, that's an option. And so you need to go, the doctors that do personal injury accidents, they know how to diagnose the injuries, and they know how to properly document, and they know how to properly treat the injuries that are common in accident cases. And that's the difference between going to that doctor as opposed to a primary care doctor or
Correct.
a doctor that doesn't handle those types of injuries. And so yeah, that's a key factor. They have to know what doctor to see. And obviously beyond that, it's important for people to hire an attorney after an accident if they're injured.
And let me ask you this, which, by the way, once again, Trias Law Firm, guys. Make sure you go check them out. You came working from a big law firm. What's the difference between going to these big law firms that can promise you all this money?
And they'll say, we'll
then-
do this settlement, that settlement.
You don't have to pay. Like, is there any catch to that? Like, you don't pay us until, we make money and stuff like that. Like, how, thank God I haven't been to an accident where I needed anything like this, right? But sometimes I feel like, and again, I'm not trying to say anything wrong about anybody. It's just, I know that in life, there's a catch. Nothing is free, right? And when it comes to these types of big firms, or what's the difference between a big firm and a smaller firm? What's the difference? It's in a catch. Are you not paying? Are you paying? If they see that they're not getting money, do they just kind of disregard you? Like, what's that looks like? Because that's a very confusing area.
It's definitely, obviously people out there, they know who the big firms are out there.
Yes.
And so I'll break it up a little bit. So I used to work for a fairly large personal injury firm that's statewide, and there's a lot of them. There's firms that spend millions and millions of dollars each year on advertising, and so we know the names without saying them.
Correct.
And so the difference between hiring a big firm versus hiring a smaller firm is that customer service. Mm-hmm. When you hire a big firm, you're just another number for them. Right. You may not even get to speak to the attorney. You're going to speak to case managers, legal assistants. You're going to be moved around from one department to another department to another department.
Yeah, because they're so big. I mean, they're getting probably thousands of calls, and your case managers probably has 30 people that they have to call back, so you're not getting that individual assistance.
Right. You're not getting that customer care. You're not getting that personal attention that I think somebody deserves after a car crash. And so that's the main difference, that customer approach, that customer-centered approach. So beyond that, regarding the attorney's fees, is there a catch? And no, I don't think there's a catch.
Okay, good.
I think it's when you have an accident, if you're hurt, you need a lawyer, in my opinion.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
To defend you, to present your claim in a proper way. And most people don't have money to pay for an attorney in
Correct.
an hourly basis.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
There's lots of lawyers that charge, but they charge $200, $300, $500 an hour, and so most people don't have the money to pay on an hourly basis. So for personal injury cases, a lot of lawyers, and I do as well, at Trias Law Firm, we handle cases on a contingency basis, meaning unless we win, you don't pay any fees. You don't pay any costs.
Well, that's good that you clear that up, because someone like me, I would not know, right? I'm looking at, because, you said they advertise all the time. I see this on TV all the time. I'm like, man, I wonder if, that's a catch.
No.
But no, I get it. So now you guys just say, okay, look, we're going to work the case, because obviously I'm hurt. There's insurances involved. So you know that there's money that you can get from them. And then that's how you guys.
Well, listen, and the good thing about that arrangement is that the lawyer has an incentive to try to
Correct.
do a great job
Correct.
for the client and to try to maximize the recovery. And so we're basically on the same team. We have the same motivation to try to get the best possible result on a case. And the good thing about that is that also we advance the cost. So if you have to hire experts, if you have to file a lawsuit, everything costs money. So if you have to get records from the hospital, that costs money.
Yeah.
If you again, mostly it's litigation that gets very expensive. When you take a case into litigation or take a case to trial, that gets very expensive. But even other things get very expensive. And so when you hire firm like me or any personal injury firm, they're going to be advancing the cost. So that really helps a client.
But the good thing about you guys being smaller, you get that one-on-one attention.
Absolutely. When somebody hires our firm, they deal directly with me. I'm the attorney. I have my staff, but I am the one that they get one-on-one with. They get that personal attention. Good. And like I said, I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish as well. And so there's a lot of people out there that don't speak English. And so I'm able to explain things in their language.
Let me ask you this now that you say that. Sorry, I know you were going to probably ask a question. What happens if somebody doesn't have legal status in the country?
Great question. I've represented a lot of people that are not here. They don't have a legal status for whatever reason, and some of them have been terrible injuries where it was not their fault. They were just victims of an accident, and so that was always their fear. Hey, am I gonna get in trouble? Am I gonna get put in jail? And the answer is absolutely not. One thing has nothing to do with the other.
Got it.
And so if you've been wronged by someone, you can make a claim, and there's not going to be any negative consequences from that. And so people should not be scared to make a claim if they're victims of an accident.
There you go. That's great.
Great conversation. My thing is, I have not been in an accident. Hopefully not, but. My thing is like what happens if someone gets hurt? Now, I can't work. How long does it take to settle? When you're representing a client, how long does a settlement take? Are you talking about a month or two? What happens if I can't work? Bills are coming in, bills are due. Like, what happens during all that time?
You're asking great questions, and that's very common for people to have. It's like, who's going to pay my bills? Who's going to if I can't go to work, what's going to happen? And so the way I'll answer it is every case is unique. Some cases settle very quickly. Within a month, the insurance company does the right thing and the case gets resolved. Sometimes even less than a month. But sometimes cases, take a life of their own. And so you have to litigate, you have to fight with the insurance company, and that can drag out for a while. Could be months and months. It could be years. So I hate to sound like a lawyer, but it really depends on the type of case. As far as
the situation
and the
at
situation.
Hand. Yeah.
And as far as bills, what I tell clients is don't worry about the bills. We'll deal with them at the end of the case. Because if you're getting collections letters from the hospital, if you're getting bills, there's really nothing you can do about resolving them until the case is resolved. So there's no point in worrying about it. And so usually the collectors know that if you have a claim, they're not going to keep bothering you. They're not going to sue you. I've never really seen that happen before. And so what usually happens is if there's a bunch of bills, all those bills get resolved at the end of the case.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. What happens if somebody tries to fraud the insurance company?
Hopefully they get in trouble because that's a crime. That's a big crime.
Because, like a lot of people, I'm not saying a lot of people, but some people might do that, right? They might say, get into it. Because I'm going to tell you this. This happened to me one time to my daughter, and I was so upset, bro. So my daughter was parked in a McDonald's. And this guy, she's backing up, and these people are out there. He literally went and drove and stopped right behind her. He hit the car. Little dent. He sued us for like, well, $10,000. I'm like, the cop got there. He's like, no, I'm not injured. Okay, but then later on, we received a letter from this guy's lawyer suing us. Like, why do that? Like, people get away with stuff like that?
Yeah, and it wasn't until we went to court that they said that he's done this over and
I
over
looked him
again.
up. He does this all the time. And then I was talking to the my insurance company, and I was telling them, bro, don't pay them. Don't pay them because these oh, you know what? This is what we're here for.
And the sad part is that this taints accident victims.
It does.
Because then everyone's like, oh, this person may not be really hurt because there are people that are trying to take advantage of the system.
Correct.
And thank you for bringing that up because just this week I saw a dash cam video.
Did you see it?
Yeah,
Yes. That the person slammed their brakes?
Yeah.
Or no, hit reverse?
It was up in New York or somewhere.
I saw that. I was going to say about that.
They caught it in dash cam where this person was driving normally. Somebody literally goes in front of them. They slam on their brakes. The person is able to stop. They don't hit them. And then they reverse it. So the person in front reverses the car and slams into the front of the car in behind, and then they had some sort of plastic bag or something between the driver's seat and the back seat, and it looked like they switched seats. I don't know if you caught that.
I didn't caught that.
Yeah.
The ones that did reverse?
Yeah, so in that same clip, the person that was driving switches with the other person. Okay, and so they make it seem like one person was driving and the other person was not driving, and so they get out of the car, and then the driver of the car in the back is like, "Hey, I have a dash cam, we caught everything on tape," and they start looking at the dash cam, and then they realize that hey, they're not gonna get away with this.
Correct.
So I'm glad people are waking up a little bit. They have dash cams.
Yeah,
and I hope they prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law because again, it taints the system and it's wrong and that causes premiums to go up unnecessarily.
It sure does.
So absolutely, it's definitely a problem.
Let me ask you this. Okay, something like that or not like that happens, but get into an accident. My fear always is like my insurance is going to go up, which was what happened when that guy did that to my daughter.
Yeah, when they settled with that gentleman, then we ended up
don't pay him. I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah.
My insurance is going to go up. So does the insurance go up after that?
Yeah, so it really depends. So there's an unfair trade practices statute that applies, which says that if it's not your fault, the insurance company can't increase your premium. That's what the law says.
That's what the law says.
Otherwise, it's deemed unfair trade practices or also known as bad faith conduct. Now, so the question is, if you're at fault, right? If you're not at fault, your rate shouldn't go up. But if you are at fault, in their eyes, the risk has increased.
Correct.
Now
Correct.
you're more prone to, getting sued and stuff like that. So
yeah.
So but yeah, that's a great question, and I tell people that it shouldn't go up if it's not your fault. It's against the law.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I told my son. I was like, listen, if you get into it, just because it's your age, you're gonna mess me up. Because I don't think was it at 25 that they considered them an adult or just 18?
No, 18. It's 18.
Is
but
18?
As long as they're under
insurance
in your household, then you basically have to either exclude them or you have to include them. You have to specifically either exclude them from your policy, meaning they're not allowed to drive your vehicle and they have to have their own policy, or you have to include them, and then that's when you're going to pay a lot of money, which I just recently saw my new premium because of my beautiful 16-year-old daughter. So.
Well, the thing
It
is,
was
like,
a
I
sticker
guess
shock, for
my
sure.
question about your daughter, did she end up getting a new car or a used car? Or because we
Used
had
car.
that debate.
what are you talking about? You didn't get her a Tesla, bro? What's going on?
No.
Why you gotta get a? You drive a
No.
Tesla?
Come
You gotta-
on.
No. She.
Yeah, I got him a used car too.
Your
Yeah.
first car, I'm a firm believer that your first car has to be a
The used one.
second-hand vehicle because you know you need there's going to be some growing pains, right?
Correct.
That's right, that's
you have to
right.
learn how to put the oil in the car, how to properly maintain it. She does drive a bigger SUV, so I feel a little
Okay.
bit safer with her driving that around. But no, she did not get a new car.
No, but I'll tell you that I know because the thing is like
Yes, Team
no,
Larry.
you're right. No, listen, and I get it because the thing is like there's gonna be some dings and dangs. Do that on the used car, not do it on the brand new car. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, my wife, when she first got her license, she had a couple of issues, you know, where she ran into a couple, not just one, but a couple of mailboxes.
Boom.
You know,
Bam. Bam.
so-
Wham.
So yeah, you know, I don't
Yes.
want my daughter with a brand new car,
Yeah.
you know, doing that kind of stuff. So you have to kind of expect some issues and
Yes.
and hopefully she's been learning.
Yeah, you learn from
To
all
be
those
careful.
mistakes.
Yeah.
You learn
And don't
from all
forget, Larry, you got another daughter coming up too. So
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
you do for this one, you'll have to do
Well,
for
she
the
has to
other
make sure
one.
she takes care of this car because that's the one that's going to the younger one.
That's
Well,
right.
we'll see. My daughter, my younger daughter, my 13-year-old is already asking, you know, hey, I don't want, you know,
I don't want her car.
I want her car. This is the car that I want.
The second kid is always like,
She
más listo,
she
¿verdad
wants
que
the
sí?
Beetle. She wants the VW Beetle.
Is that the
Wow.
Beetle with she wants the eyelashes on it? Is that the one that you already put the females put the eyelashes on?
I don't know, but she wants like a pink one.
Yeah, that's
Oh
what
my
about the one
God.
with the eyelashes. But I said that's now. By the time she's 16, she's like,
She'll
I don't
change
want
her
that, man. I
mind.
don't
Yeah.
want that. I'm
Yeah.
in high school now. I don't want that.
She's gonna want a cooler car for sure.
Right, for
That
sure,
point.
for sure.
When Brandon was getting his license, I think I hid in my room the most that year because he kept showing us all these like fast sports cars, and he's like, "I want this one right here." I'm like, "I'm
No
gone.
sports
I'm in
cars
the
for
room.
no 17-year. I'll tell you that. Because
And, actually talking about sports cars.
And colors of car. Does that make the insurance go up high too?
well, here's the problem. And talking about teenagers.
Yeah.
So, according to this list, teenage drivers are the 8th cause of accidents on the road. So, and then speed is the number 2 cause. So if you have a teenager with a fast car, that's
that's
A recipe
because
for
that's your
well, the
disaster.
thing
for
is,
disaster.
you have 2 in the top 10.
right.
What
right.
about old folks? Where they at?
Yeah, because they
They're
definitely
not-
on the
they're
street
not-
at
they're not
7
on there?
a.m.
They're not on the list.
Man, they don't missed
know
out.
what?
They
I
need to come
think
to
that's
Cape Coral.
statistic.
They need to come to Cape Coral and check that out. Because I remember one time I'm driving out and I see this guy coming out of McDonald's. It's like he thought he was the only one in the world driving. He's not looking at nothing. Luckily, again, I try to be as most defensive as I can, and I see him just wilding out. If I wasn't paying attention, he was going to crash into me. You know, but it's just, I mean, this.
Well,
Is Florida like number 1 in crashes, or just like is it
I
just on the
haven't.
top? You
Yeah, I
don't know?
haven't looked into that statistic. But when it comes to older drivers, I think people just need to know when it's a good time to stop driving.
To give up
Correct.
that license. Yeah.
You
Give
know,
up the keys
and,
and,
I've
the
seen
license.
it in my family. I remember my grandpa in Barcelona. The last time I saw him drive in Barcelona, we have mountains, and you're on the Mediterranean. But basically, you're on the water, but there's also mountains. And he was driving through the mountains, turning and twisting and turning and twisting, and he was going very fast. And I was looking at him like, you know, you're scaring me,
Yes.
you know. And so
My life is in
Been
your
there,
hands,
done
yeah,
that.
I
please.
was like, I know you've done this 1,000 times, but you know, you're not as sharp as you once were. He was
Correct,
in his
correct.
90s.
Wow.
And
Wow. That's
so
a
I
bad
think
thing.
after that he stopped driving, but
Yeah.
it's hard for people to lose their independence.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
It
so,
is.
but we see it in our parents and our grandparents, and people just need to know when it is time to, like, hey, there's
Yeah.
also Uber, there's Lyft,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great options out there.
Yeah.
You can, use your grandkids, your children that can drive you around.
In back up north, there used to be a company called People to Places, and they basically that's what they did is a company that will drive old people out to their like appointments, pick them back up and stuff like that, and they need that over here in Florida. They'll make a lot of money, boy.
Yeah.
These guys is crazy. But one thing you were saying about people speeding, if you're speeding and cutting people off, stop doing that bullshit because guess what? When I see you on the red light, I'm going to look at you and be like, idiot. Because, you know, like people will be like speeding and all of a sudden nothing. Because the red light's going to catch up to you. And then you're going to be like, then everybody that you don't pass by are going to be coming beside you. You're going to be like this.
We
You don't even wanna
we
look.
always talk about people that are speeding. Like, where are they going to so fast? And what does your mom say?
But so my mom is like very, like, I love my mom. Like, she's like, bendito que Dios lo cuide, because you never know. Maybe he's going through a...
She's trying to defend.
Yeah, like, a lo mejor está yéndolo por el hospital, le pasó algo a los nenes.
There's an
de él.
emergency.
It's an
They must be
emergency.
speeding for
So
a
it's like,
good
"Ay,
reason."
mami, tú
She
siempre."
gives them
She's-
the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, she does.
Yes. And you know what? I'd
It
rather
could
think
be.
of it like that, right? Because then you don't get into the road rage. You
Yeah.
don't get into what the, you know, what's going on. So you kind of like, oh, you know what?
I've actually
Hopefully-
been in that situation when my wife was about to give birth. She was like, "I need to go now," you know, and I was
Yes.
and I was trying to like go the speed limit, and she was like, "Go faster, go fast." I'm like, "No." So I get it. I feel their pain.
Correct.
You know?
But do us a favor. Let us know how people can get a hold of you, please.
So
Trias Law Firm.
So triaslaw.com is my website. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram. You can DM us. But the best way, the fastest way is triaslaw.com. And I do, you know, I can give a phone number as well for people to call us toll free, 239-243-9549. For the Fort Myers location, and the Miami location is 305-396-3384.
So you're in Fort Myers right now and in Miami.
Yeah, so we handle cases anywhere in the state of Florida.
Got it.
Wonderful.
And so for the most part, I'm going to give credit to COVID. After COVID, just about everything in the court system is done electronically.
Yes.
So when it comes to meeting with clients, it's done on the phone or through Zoom calls. When it comes to signing paperwork, it's done through DocuSign software.
Yeah.
Even going to court, a lot of times you don't need to go to the lawyer's office like it used to. A lot of things are done via Zoom. So for the most part, if they have a phone, they can get everything done that way.
There you go. So I mean, and that's one thing about COVID is like it really like, even though that it was like a really hard time for everybody, but it really showed us the importance and how easy it is just to do stuff online, because it was always there, but we were never using it like that.
Absolutely.
And it kind of just opened up everything. And now, because even my daughter, when she does her acting, a lot of auditions are online. So it kind of just opened that up.
It
So
did, yeah.
it's kind of cool to know that when it comes to accidents and law firms, it could be from anywhere in the state, and you can just do everything online.
Absolutely. And just to give you an example, before COVID, sometimes I used to have to drive hours just to go to a courtroom for a 5-minute hearing.
Wow.
And
crazy.
so I used to, for example, if I was in Orlando, I'd have to go to Miami, and that's 6 hours, back and forth for literally a 5-minute hearing. Judges were very hesitant to allow you to appear by phone. It was very rare. And so what COVID did was it changed that completely. And so now judges, you're expected not to go to the courthouse for a hearing, depositions, just a lot of things that really, I think, helped the profession, because, driving a lot gets really old. And, the
Correct.
older you get, you starts hurting you a little bit.
Correct.
So-
Well, I mean, well, not only that, but now you got more time with the clients. You got more time with other,
Yeah, more important
Be
thing.
able-
You're more efficient.
you're more efficient.
absolutely
That's
more
the word.
efficient.
So definitely, man. But look, Larry, it was great having you.
It really
It was
Thank you
just
so
definitely
much.
an amazing talk. I think that, in this podcast, we like to joke around and have fun, and also we like to bring awareness of things that help people out, because when it comes to stuff like this, it's really important to have these conversations, let people know where the information lives, right? Because like we were talking about, like there's things that are out there that you don't know, and then you get into an accident, and then you don't know what to do after that. Like, so it's like to know that people can get a hold of you, to know that people can go to places like Alpha Medicine, to know that, okay, I know the steps, the proper steps. Actually, talking about the steps, what should be the first thing you do if you get into an accident? Let's end with that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the first step.
That's right.
So first step, if you get involved in a car crash and you're injured, you feel any symptoms, the first thing you do is obviously call 911.
Yes.
Make sure your car is in a safe location. I always tell people to take pictures of the property damage of their vehicle and the vehicle on the other vehicle involved in the crash. Maybe take some pictures of the scene of the crash, and then after that, contact an attorney, and then after that, go get medical attention. So, or go get medical attention if something's urgent. Obviously, go to the hospital. Health comes first, but after that, contact an attorney so they can protect your rights.
There you guys have it. You heard it here first. That He Said She's a podcast.
Yes.
My boy, Trias Law Firm. Make sure you go check them out. The information is at the bottom of the screen. If anything happens to you, if you're in the state of Florida, you can check out Larry Trias Law Firm. It was great having
Thank you very
We
much.
do
Thank you for
appreciate
coming
it.
by.
Appreciate
Did you any last
I do.
things?
I just want to say to all our viewers, the best thing you can do is share this podcast, like it, and comment, and spread the word.
All right, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.
Have a good one.